You speak with confidence, yet your shoulders betray tension. You talk like a man who knows his worth, yet your energy whispers uncertainty. You give her all your time, all your access, all your emotional bandwidth, and her instincts quietly label it as too easy. Too available, too predictable. Most men think attraction is built through effort. But what truly draws a woman in has never been long speeches, long texts, or over-explanations. It's the man who stays rooted, the man who doesn't flinch when emotions rise, the man whose presence stays steady, even when he's misunderstood, challenged, or tested. Here's a truth most men avoid because it cuts deep. Women don't choose the man who tries the hardest. They choose the man who feels grounded, disciplined, and difficult to replace. Unlimited kindness slowly transforms into quiet submission. Endless empathy starts looking like emotional instability. Constant availability becomes a silent confession of desperation. But once you understand this, once it finally clicks, you stop performing. You stop chasing validation. You stop molding yourself into whatever you think will keep her interested. Instead, you start radiating something she can feel but not fully explain. Presence, authority, self-direction. Attraction has nothing to do with charity. Attraction is instinct, and instinct is always scanning for capability. For years, you probably believed in that lie. The more affection I show, the more she'll stay. So you gave everything. You offered attention without her earning it. You explained your feelings before she even asked. You placed your heart on the table immediately without hesitation. And yet, you watched her interest drift. You watched the messages dry up. You watched the emotional closeness fade into cold distance. Here's the painful truth. You weren't dismissed because you lacked emotion. You were dismissed because your behavior signaled low boundaries, low inner strength, and low self-leadership. Her mind wasn't punishing you. She wasn't trying to hurt you or play games. Her biology was simply following the ancient pattern that has shaped human attraction for thousands of years. Do not invest in a man who collapses under emotional pressure. So now the shift begins. Now you align your posture, your presence, and your behavior with the reality of how attraction actually works. You step away from the frame of, please notice me, please choose me, and you step into the frame of, I don't adjust myself for approval. Presence before emotion, self-control before confession, scarcity before promises. Because when these pillars align, when your energy stops leaking insecurity, when your time becomes valuable, when your certainty becomes silent but undeniable, her instinct responds automatically. It gravitates. It invests. It stays. Remember this, carve it into your mind and never forget. Female desire is not poetic, it's biological. And men who understand biology never struggle for attention. They become unforgettable. The misunderstanding of the good guy. The biggest trap in modern dating is the one that looks the most virtuous. Men truly believe that being endlessly supportive, always available, and permanently accommodating will create desire. It feels noble. It feels righteous. It feels like the right thing to do. But excess kindness without boundaries doesn't create attraction, it erases tension. And the moment tension disappears, desire collapses. Not slowly, not gradually, instantly. The super nice guy believes affection can buy interest, that being overly soft will somehow inspire passion. But a woman's instinct is not seduced by emotional discounts. Her biology responds to stability, direction, disciplined emotional power, not to men who try to compensate with overgiving and people-pleasing. True steadiness is not aggression. It is the ability to choose your reactions instead of being ruled by them. It is calmness without collapse. It is warmth without weakness. When you bend to every request, when you chase instead of choose, when you rush to fix everything she feels, her instinct reads one message with brutal clarity. This man cannot hold his frame, and the man who cannot hold his frame becomes predictable. Predictable becomes harmless, and in romance, harmlessness kills polarity. She might like you. She might appreciate you. She might even think you're wonderful. But she doesn't feel drawn to you. She doesn't feel pulled. She doesn't feel claimed, chosen, or challenged by your presence. Desire does not grow from comfort. It grows from sensing you have standards. That you choose, not chase. That your gaze evaluates, not begs. That your silence carries weight, not fear. Most men confuse presence with performance. They try harder. They speak more. They exaggerate their energy. They become louder, sweeter, more available, hoping she finally gets it. But effort, when rooted in insecurity, screams the wrong message. Women aren't drawn to the man who tries to be noticed. They're drawn to the man who is noticed even in silence. And that shift begins the moment you stop seeking micro-approval. The moment you allow your boundaries to speak before your words do. The moment your silence becomes a form of communication. Not distance, but power. A transformed man doesn't abandon empathy. He simply refuses to hand it out without structure. Because boundaries separate respect from pity, scarcity separates value from comfort, and leadership separates attraction from obligation. The man who is always available becomes forgettable. The man who is selective becomes magnetic. Because attraction thrives when she senses a truth she can feel in her bones. You could walk away, but you choose to stay. Kindness without strength creates weakness. Strength without kindness creates fear. But the fusion of the two, that creates polarity, that creates desire, that creates a man she doesn't want to lose. And once you grasp this, you stop performing value and start embodying it. Tests, the language of the instinct. What men call rejection is often something far more ancient. Not manipulation, not cruelty, not disrespect. A test, not to hurt you, but to read you, to understand you, to separate the grounded from the fragile, the calm from the insecure, the solid from the performative. A woman tests to verify whether your confidence is real or borrowed, whether your composure is authentic or temporary, whether you hold your center only when it's easy, or also when the emotional temperature rises. Every cold reply, every sudden shift in tone, every moment she pulls back just slightly, every subtle challenge, is part of an instinctive system she didn't choose and cannot shut off. It's her biology scanning the emotional environment, trying to understand, can this man stay who he is under pressure? If you crumble, if you defend, if you justify, if you plead for reassurance, if you over-explain your intentions, she confirms silently, his calmness was performance. But when you remain centered, when you don't chase the moment she steps back, when your tone stays steady even when hers fluctuates, her desire grows quietly, powerfully, instinctively. Most men treat tests as personal attacks. They get emotional, reactive, offended, or confused. But tests aren't attacks. They are filters. She's not trying to push you down. She's trying to see if you stay upright. She's trying to verify whether the man you appear to be is the man you truly are. A grounded man doesn't rush to correct her perceptions. He lets time, behavior, and pattern do the speaking. Because confidence doesn't prove itself. Confidence doesn't announce itself. Confidence doesn't negotiate its value. Confidence is the refusal to break character under pressure. And the strongest response to a test is subtle, almost invisible. Still eyes, relaxed posture, controlled voice, short, precise words, minimal explanation, zero panic. Silence becomes the loudest demonstration of power. Every second you stay composed, you communicate something ancient, something primal, something she feels more than hears. I don't shift. I lead. And that message, that presence, that unwavering steadiness, activates the deepest part of her instinct. The essence of male value. Modern men confuse control with aggression. They think power is about volume, dominance, or the ability to impose themselves on others. But true power, real, grounded, masculine power, is something far quieter and far rarer. Power isn't domination over people. Power is mastery over your own impulses. It's sovereignty over your reactions. It's owning the emotional space you stand in. The man who can hold himself under pressure radiates more authority than the man who forces respect through intensity. A woman isn't drawn to a man who fights for attention, who tries to convince her of his worth. She's drawn to the man who could be dangerous, but chooses restraint. A man who could demand, but chooses selective generosity, because restraint signals internal power, and internal power is irresistible. She doesn't want to become your entire world. She wants to join a man who already has a world. A direction, a purpose, a mission, a structure. Independence is magnetic. Dependence is suffocating. A man with purpose, boundaries, and a clear identity is always more desirable than the man who reshapes himself to fit her expectations, because she knows that a man who shifts himself for approval will eventually shift his values, his integrity, and his center. When she sees you have rhythm, your own timing, your own priorities, she feels attraction rise effortlessly. When she sees structure, your goals, your discipline, your standards, her instinct leans closer. When she sees clarity, your decisions, your direction, your self-respect, she softens in a way she can't fully explain. But when she sees you're too accessible, always waiting, always available, always giving more than she asked for, interest dies quietly, not angrily, not dramatically, just quietly, like a flame running out of oxygen. A man who lives for approval loses value instantly, but a man who lives with purpose becomes unforgettable. Your mission, your work, your hobbies, your ambition, these form the gravitational field she feels around you. They create pull. They give your presence weight. When your time is scarce, she values it. When your absence is intentional, she thinks of you more. When your priorities are bigger than her, she respects you at a deeper, instinctive level. You become the reference point in her emotional world, the axis she orients around, not because you chase, not because you try, but because you embody purpose, and purpose is what women trust. This is the essence of male value. Not performance, not perfection, not approval, direction, presence, purpose, and the discipline to hold them. The truth men wish they heard earlier. Here's the hard truth no one teaches young men. Women don't chase love. They chase value. And love comes after instinct recognizes one thing. This man elevates me, protects me, challenges me, and doesn't lose himself for me. This has been true since ancient tribes and warrior societies. Back then, a woman's survival depended on choosing a man with capability, emotional intelligence, and strength. Today, the language is softer. The world is different, but the instinct is the same. Men chase the heart. Women choose with instinct. And instinct responds to steadiness, confidence, leadership, and presence. You don't lose women to better-looking men. You lose them to men who understand the frame of attraction, men who move with calmness instead of panic, men who respond instead of react, men who choose instead of beg. A man who understands these rules doesn't need to justify himself. He doesn't need to persuade her. He doesn't need to explain why he deserves attention. His energy tells the story. Through posture, upright, relaxed, unshaken. Through calmness, steady voice, composed emotion, grounded reaction. Through purpose, knowing where he is going and expecting life to follow. He doesn't seek attention. He naturally commands it. He doesn't declare his worth. He demonstrates it through the way he moves, decides, and holds himself. Understanding female instinct frees you. It removes the confusion, the anxiety, the overthinking. It shifts you from the man who adapts to keep attraction alive into the man who leads and becomes the source of attraction. Because in the world of desire, the real power isn't in the words you speak. It's in the frame you hold. Your silence carries value. Your steadiness creates desire. Your calmness builds trust. Your boundaries build respect. Silence and stability are louder than any speech. Once you understand this, once you feel it, not just hear it, the entire game of desire changes permanently. You stop chasing. You stop proving. You stop performing. And women begin to respond to you in a completely different way. Thanks for watching, and until next time.